AI agents need identity and zero-knowledge proofs are the solution. ZKPs could become the backbone of a new era of trusted AI and digital identity, giving individuals and organizations a way to interact safely and transparently across platforms and borders, argues Evin McMullen, CEO and co-founder of Billions Network. These are interesting times for AI and trust. A growing number of investment firms are using AI agents to review research notes and company filings. Humans are asked to surrender increasingly invasive biometric data, like face scans, voice samples, and behavioral patterns, just to prove they're not bots. Once in the wild, this data can be weaponized by AI-driven bots to convincingly spoof real people, defeating the very systems designed to keep them out. That leaves us in a strange new arms race. The more invasive the verification, the greater the risk when it inevitably leaks. So, how do we verify who or what we're really dealing with? It's unconscionable to demand transparency from humans while accepting opacity from machines. Both bots and online humans need better ways of verifying their identity. We can't solve this problem by simply collecting more biometric data, nor by building centralized registries that represent massive honeypots for cyber criminals. Zero-knowledge proofs offer a way forward where both humans and AI can prove their credentials without exposing themselves to exploitation. The absence of verifiable AI identity creates immediate market risks. When AI agents can impersonate humans, manipulate markets, or execute unauthorized transactions, enterprises rightfully hesitate to deploy autonomous systems at scale. As it happens, LLMs that have been fine-tuned on a smaller dataset to improve performance are 22 times more likely to produce harmful outputs than base models, with the success rates of bypassing the safety and ethical guardrails of the system, a process known as jailbreaking, tripling against production-ready systems. Without reliable identity verification, every AI interaction takes a step closer to a potential security breach. The problem is not as obvious as preventing malicious actors from deploying rogue agents, because it's not as if we are faced with a single AI interface. The future will see more and more autonomous AI agents with greater capabilities. In such a sea of agents, how do we know what we're dealing with? Even legitimate AI systems need verifiable credentials to participate in the emerging agent-to-agent economy. When an AI trading bot executes a transaction with another bot, both parties need assurance about the other's identity, authorization, and accountability structure. The human side of this equation is equally broken. Traditional identity verification systems expose users to massive data breaches, too easily allow for authoritarian surveillance, and generate billions in revenue for huge corporations from selling personal information without compensating the individuals who generate it. People are rightfully reluctant to share more personal data, yet regulatory requirements demand ever more invasive verification procedures. Zero-knowledge proofs, ZKPs, offer a solution to this seemingly intractable problem. Rather than revealing sensitive information, ZKPs allow entities, whether human or artificial, to prove specific claims without exposing underlying data. A user can prove they're over 21 without revealing their birth date. An AI agent can prove it was trained on ethical datasets without exposing proprietary algorithms. A financial institution can verify a customer meets regulatory requirements without storing personal information that could be breached. For AI agents, ZKPs can enable the necessary deep levels of trust, since we need to verify not just technical architecture but behavioral patterns, legal accountability, and social reputation. With ZKPs, these claims can be stored in a verifiable trust graph on-chain. Think of it as a composable identity layer that works across platforms and jurisdictions. That way, when an AI agent presents its credentials, it can prove its training data meets ethical standards, its outputs have been audited, and its actions are linked to accountable human entities, all without exposing proprietary information. ZKPs could completely change the game, allowing us to prove who we are without handing over sensitive data, but adoption remains slow. ZKPs remain a technical niche, unfamiliar to users, and tangled in regulatory gray areas. To top it off, companies that profit from collecting data have little incentive to adopt the technology. However, that isn't stopping more agile identity companies from leveraging them, and as regulatory standards emerge and awareness improves, ZKPs could become the backbone of a new era of trusted AI and digital identity, giving individuals and organizations a way to interact safely and transparently across platforms and borders. Generative AI could add trillions annually to the global economy, but much of this value remains locked behind identity verification barriers. There are several reasons for this. One is that institutional investors need robust KYC/AML compliance before deploying capital into AI-driven strategies. Another is that enterprises require verifiable agent identities before allowing autonomous systems to access critical infrastructure. And regulators demand accountability mechanisms before approving AI deployment in sensitive domains. ZKP-based identity systems address all these requirements while preserving the privacy and autonomy that make decentralized systems valuable. By enabling selective disclosure, they satisfy regulatory requirements without creating honeypots of personal data. By providing cryptographic verification, they enable trustless interactions between autonomous agents. And by maintaining user control, they align with emerging data protection regulations like GDPR and California's privacy laws. The technology could also help address the growing deepfake crisis. When every piece of content can be cryptographically linked to a verified creator without revealing their identity, we can combat misinformation and protect privacy. This is particularly crucial as AI-generated content becomes indistinguishable from human-created material. Some will argue that any identity system represents a step toward authoritarianism. But no society can function without a way to identify its citizenry. Identity verification is already happening at scale, just poorly. Every time we upload documents for KYC, submit to facial recognition, or share personal data for age verification, we're participating in identity systems that are invasive, insecure, and inefficient. Zero-knowledge proofs offer a way forward that respects individual privacy while enabling the trust necessary for complex economic interactions. They allow us to build systems where users control their data, verification doesn't require surveillance, and both humans and AI agents can interact securely without sacrificing autonomy.